Hello Clash fans, Tribal Damage coming at you today from the luxury of my Toyota Corolla hatchback to bring you the question of Grand Warden equipment. Which is the best for you to use? I'm going to preface this by saying I think Supercell did a great job balancing the equipment, so you almost can't go wrong for the most part. What we're going to wind up doing is taking this rather quirky, goofy layout here of nothing but defenses, and we are going to run a pack of troops through them using the Grand Warden's different abilities in different combinations to see how each of them stack up. The army composition, I'm not going to let you see the percentages that are over here, so hopefully I did a good job blurring all that stuff out. The first one we're going to show you, and we're using the same army composition for each of these. We are going to use the Eternal Tome and the Life Gem, which you will recognize is the normal, I'm using air quotes here, normal common abilities that the Grand Warden is going to have available to him. And what we are going to do is just spam troops from left to right on the deployment bar, or I guess really we're moving to the left from the right, starting with 3 Ace Golems, 3 Bowlers, 3 Valks, 3 Super Hogs, 3 Regular Hogs, 3 Root Riders, 3 Yetis, 3 Miners, 3 Wizards, and then we are going to be using a combination of 3 heal spells and 3 rage spells to see the troops through to the end. So I'm literally just doing the exact same deployment in every single one. Bam, 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 bam. Warden with Diggy and the Royal Champion with the Spirit Fox. For each of these combinations, and I'll remind you, we are using his basic equipment, we are putting the heal spell right on top of that Archer Tower to help heal the troops up after the first blast of the Eagle Artillery. We are then going to rage near the enemy rage tower. And I'm curious, and we do have the Town Hall. What you saw on the main layout there was another experiment, which we will show you at the end of the video. As the Grand Warden makes their way through here, we go heal spell on top of the scatter shot, and then into the Town Hall with a rage, and we are going to trigger the Eternal Tome as the Town Hall goes down. Now, I wanted to try to keep this as fair as possible, so we are going to wind up triggering all of the abilities in the same place, even though sometimes it doesn't really do much, depending on which of the gems or healing tomes or tomes that you have on them. I also actively chose not to use the Royal Champion's ability proactively, but rather to let it trigger automatically as the defenses wind up requesting that of her. Now, as a reminder, the Life Gem increases the base hit points of all of the troops inside of the Warden's Tome area, and the Eternal Tome will create a Realm of Protection for 9.5 seconds when it is at level 18, which this one is. You can see here with the base equipment for the Eternal Tome, with the Eternal Tome and the Life Gem, it looks like we're going to get every defense, but no, Diggy gets sniped, and the Grand Warden goes down, and we get to a total of, with this goofy layout here, 64% of the base down using this exact troop combination. Now, before we dive back into the rest of them, we're going to take a look at the abilities. There are 6 different possible combinations. We can do the Healing Tome with the Life Gem, which we just saw. Healing Tome with the Eternal Tome plus the Life Gem. Eternal Tome plus Healing Gem. Eternal Tome plus Rage Gem. Then, of course, the Life Gem with the Healing Tome. The Life Gem with the Rage Gem. And the Healing Tome with the Rage Gem. As a reminder, everybody thinks about the abilities as though they only do one thing. So like the Rage Gem increases damage other troops deal. Yes, but it also boosts the Grand Warden's hit points by 88 damage per second, and it makes him attack 22% faster. That's something to keep in mind. It's very important for Warden walks. If you're doing a Warden walk, there's actually a really good argument for using the Rage Gem. The Healing Tome will, at max, for 25 seconds, heal 150 damage per second across all the troops inside that range, while also giving the Grand Warden an extra 685 base hit points and an extra 863 when you trigger his ability. Because if you recall, the normal old Warden abilities, none of that recovered his hit points. It just made him invincible along with the rest of the troops during that duration. The Life Gem, of course, does give a maximum of 725 hit points, which is a 100% boost for some troops, but it caps it at 725. So if you try to use this for a Root Rider, it's not going to give a Root Rider an extra 8,000 hit points, whereas if you were to use it for a troop that has fewer than 725 hit points, it will double their hit points during their period inside the Eternal Tome. That's actually kind of a complicated thing to explain, which I will touch on either in a future podcast or in another video. Oh, that reminds me. Check out my podcast. Inside Clash with trample damage, and use my creator code trample, and subscribe here and check me out on TikTok and all the other fun stuff. So Life Gem not only giving the boost of hit points to the other troops, but also is part of the 66 damage per second that you could get with the Warden, and it gives him a base hit point increase of 441 damage. And the final one is the Eternal Tome, which does nothing for the Grand Warden himself because the ability is so incredible and so powerful. So if you wanted to give the Warden the highest damage per second, you would have the Life Gem on him and the Rage Gem. We'll talk a little bit more about the army compositions that we recommend a little bit later. We're going to dive into the second of them, also blurring out the sides so you can't see what's going to happen here with the Grand Warden using the Eternal Tome and the Healing Tome. Same thing. Spam, 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 spam. 3 of every one of these troops, drop the Warden, drop the Royal Champion, and then we're going to put the spells in the exact same place. Now, we're going to go ahead and go 2 times speed on this because it's the same thing. We're going to heal on top of the Arch Tower, Rage just past the Rage Tower, heal on top of the Scatter Shot, Rage through the Town Hall. It's a little tough to see what's going on in there because there's so much happening and so many defenses. But now we are ready to trigger the Grand Warden's Eternal Tome. Everybody's going to be invincible. Everybody is recovering hit points. Over 3,000 hit points that can be recovered if there are such hit points to recover, which we do pick up some here. Into a healing spell. Into a rage spell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Slow things back down. 2 times speed is just fine. We start to run out of gas a little bit here, and we never even make it past the Ricochet Cannon. No, the Royal Champion's ability lets us make it past the Ricochet Cannon. We're going to take down... Oh, never mind, we're not. But the Warden will be able to pick up 2 more buildings before going down to the Multi-Archer Tower, giving him, with this army composition of the of the Eternal Tome and the Healing Tome, 1 more building. We got to 65%. I will say this. The Eternal Tome is a very powerful ability, and so is the Healing Tome. I wind up telling people when they're asking me which of these, okay, we're going to blur that out again, and we'll go to the third one. When people ask me what to choose between here we're going to go half speed so you can listen to me talk for a second. So here we have the Rage Gem and the Eternal Tome. So feel free to enjoy watching this while I talk a little bit more about the other one for a moment. The healing, so if you're going to use the Eternal Tome and you want to choose between the Life Gem and the Healing Tome, my recommendation tends to be if you have lower hit point troops like Miners, Hog Riders, Super Barbarians, go ahead and go with the Life Gem because the benefits you're going to get in the extra hit points will keep them alive through Eagle Artillery Blasts, Scattershot Blasts, Monolith. Well, Monolith is actually not that big of a deal. Whereas if you're using bigger, beefier, tankier troops like Yetis or Root Riders, you are probably in a better position to use the Healing Tome because the Life Gem is going to give them at most just under 800 extra hit points, where the Healing Tome can prop them back up for a total of over 3,000 additional hit points if they stay in there during the entire duration. Okay, let's get back to the action. Eternal Tome plus the Rage Gem, they're moving more quickly through there, and I know what you're thinking, but trample damage, the Rage spells are goofy because the Eternal Tome and the Grand Warden with the Rage Gem is very powerful. And I agree with you, but the Rage Gem does not do anywhere near as much as the additional damage coming from the Rage spells. And we wanted to try and keep things as equal as possible to create somewhat of an objective evaluation of the value of these different spell and hero equipment combinations. But we get through the Town Hall, we do have the heal spell coming in, and now the final rage spell coming down for our troops as they move in toward this very dangerous combination of buildings over here. And what do you think's going to happen? What's your guess? Pause the video. And tell me what you think is going to happen, because they're coming down here and it looks like everybody's fading, but the Royal Champion is literally fading because of the Spirit Fox, and we get to use her ability, and her ability helps take out some others. We got all the defenses! So, with this army composition, no Wi-Fi, with this army composition and the Eternal Tome and the Rage Gem, we did manage to plow through all of the defenses that we had set up here, taking them all down, putting the Eternal Tome and the Rage Gem, currently, of the 3 combinations that we've used, in first place. I do think it is important to note that the Rage Gem needs some kind of additional support that will be coming either, in this case, in the form of 3 of the heal spells that we brought, or you need free spells, you need something to help support that. Otherwise, your troops will burn out very quickly because the Rage Gem... Hey, look, we're blocking stuff out again. The Rage Gem moves the troops through so quickly that they wind up taking a lot of fire, and without anything to help slow down the incoming damage, it does present a bit of a liability. So, Here we now have no Eternal Tome. So the first three were all with the Eternal Tome. We had, what, 64, 65, and 68. We're now going to try the three without the Eternal Tome. Here we're going with the Life Gem and the Healing Tome. So we've got extra hit points on all these troops as they're heading in, which is actually really good for a lot of these. Not quite as beneficial for the Root Riders and the Yetis because they've already got so many hit points, but it's good for some of the smaller troops. We now engage the Town Hall. We go ahead and pop the ability of the Grand Warden, and we get the healing going. Now, this is one where I think it's kind of fair, but it's a little bit unfortunate. Some of those troops missed the initial protection of the Eternal Tome and ended up taking a decent amount of damage from some of these defenses. But that's okay, because just like any attack, there's always going to be slight variations and differentials that cause issues. Here, the Spirit Fox goes down, the Warden goes down, everybody's going down. The Royal Champion, trying to keep things going with Diggy, does manage to trigger and stun the Monolith and get through a few more defenses before going down with only, I'm using air quotes here, only 57%. Now, taking down every single one of the defenses on the base would obviously be cool, and your heroes could easily clean everything else up, but in this example, it did not perform quite as well as the other three combinations. Here we have the only combination that does not involve at least one of the tomes. We have the Life Gem and the Rage Gem. So the troops are going to have a higher base hit point amount because they are inside that Eternal Tome's aura area. Well, they're inside the Life Gem's aura, the Grand Warden's area, and the Rage Gem is going to be giving them some extra damage. Now, unfortunately, they do have some higher hit points, but lacking the additional heal spells, which maybe, some future video we can look at what this army composition would do with 5 heal spells. They don't have anything that is regenerating them right now aside from the heal spells. And we do not have the invincibility, so we'll see how we fare against the Town Hall. And we are triggering the Warden's ability here anyway, because it recovers him a few hit points, which was probably kind of wasted, but we said that we were going to do that, so we did that way. And lacking the power of the invincibility and having to eat through the Town Hall, the Warden, the Royal Champion, the Spirit Fox, a lot of those troops took some heavy damage from the Town Hall and the Town Hall poison, and this attack ended up fizzling out much earlier than the other attacks. I went ahead and dropped the Rage spell, even though it essentially wound up being completely useless, as we stopped at 51%, giving us the worst performance so far of any of the combinations. We are going to wrap up this with a final combination. Where do you think the Healing Tome with the Rage Gem is going to wind up landing? So again, we spam a trio of everything. We go ahead and bring in the Healing Tome along with the Rage Gem, and we are off to the races. Same spell placement. I actually think this is a pretty interesting combination if you are not going to have to battle the Town Hall for an attack. So when I think about some of like the Root Rider Smash type of things that I've seen, or even like a P.E.K.K.A. Smash, I actually feel like this is a pretty decent combination because that extra rage gives them a lot of extra power, while when you do choose to use the Healing Tome, it's a very powerful ability because it winds up giving basically to an entire compartment of troops. It gives everybody an extra roughly 3,000 hit points, which is going to help them push through these attacks very, very compellingly. Where when you use the Eternal Tome, you're going to prevent some damage to all the troops, but not every defense is necessarily attacking your troops all at the same time. So depending on where you use it, you can, partway through the attack, as a bunch of your troops have taken some damage, you can use that Healing Tome to build back up while continuing to plow quickly through the attack using the Rage Gem. But like you can see here, eating through that Town Hall and that Town Hall poison, bathing in that terrible orange juice, makes it very difficult for your troops to wind up emerging alive at all from the Town Hall blast. And here we wind up fizzling out at 57%. So the best damage that we ended up getting was the combination of the Eternal Tome and the Rage Gem. But to be fair, I wanted to test out this layout here. What happens if we take a couple of the defenses that were on the back end here and swap them where the Town Hall was? So what I wanted to do here, we're going to keep it blurred out as well, it's the same troops, but we are going to take the best and worst army combinations that we had, or the best and worst percentages. We're going to take the Eternal Tome with the Rage Gem, and all we did was swap a couple of Builder Huts and the Multi-Archer Tower with the Town Hall. And then we're also going to compare that to the Life Gem paired with the Rage Gem. So the Rage Gem was part of the best combination and the worst combination in the first round of testing we did. Same spells, same deployment, same time that we're going to trigger everything, and we're going to go ahead and let this roll through. We do have what was the best combination. We are now rolling into the town hall, and I mean, we're rolling into the area where the town hall would have been, but instead we've got a multi-archer tower with a couple of extra builder huts, and for some reason I do not understand, while we made it all the way through not only the town hall blast, but some of this other stuff, this one doesn't even make it all the way to the town hall, because we wind up fizzling out and just having a royal champion going at some of these buildings before she finally gets taken down by the ricochet cannon, failing to get to the town hall. So in the other time, we only ended up getting, was 68? Was it 68%? I'll let it show for this one. 68%. We got 68%. Got all the defenses using the same two abilities, but this time, for whatever reason, we did not. Now we're going to show you the final one. We're going to take the weakest pairing of all the ones that we had the first go-round, and we are going to come at this with the life gem and the rage gem. We're going to go ahead and play this, and we'll put it in 2 times speed, so it only takes about 30 seconds. And I think part of the fascinating thing about this entire experiment to me, which you could do this so many different ways with so many different troops against so many different layouts and so many different pet pairings and hero pairings and Stewie heroes and a Blizzard, a Sarch Lalo, and there's so many different ways you can approach this. But when we do wind up taking this with a couple of relatively safe parameters that we are able to replicate, to see such different outcomes and possibly some unexpected outcomes. When we first went against the town hall, we had to fight through the town hall on the way through. The life gem coupled with the rage gem was the worst performing. But when we wind up actually coming and putting the town hall on the back end, the combination that has thus far been the least valuable from all the attack practice I've done actually becomes the only one between the two that manages to take down all of these defenses, largely because we are finishing on the town hall. I think this is such an important point to make here, because we naturally just decide, oh, this is better. And I'll show you, this is all the testing I did. It was just these here. I don't even know what this is. This was me doing, this is a Town Hall 13 attack that I made the other day. All I did is build that other base layout. I did the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different attacks, and then I said I'm going to take the best and the worst of the previous ones and try it with the town hall in the back end. I didn't stage this. I'm not setting up to prove a point. I'm just sharing my main thing that I want you to take away. The balance between the abilities is staggeringly close. While there are obvious benefits that you can pick up from some combinations over others, what we do know is the Eternal Tome is absolutely very powerful, and I believe a must if you are trying to push your army through the town hall. If you're not trying to push your army through the town hall, I think you are safe to experiment with some of these other combinations that you can find here with all of the common equipment that is available for the Grand Warden. Me personally, when I'm using my Super Hog Rider attack at Town Hall 16, I'm going with the Eternal Tome and I'm going with the Life Gem, because the Super Hogs and Hog Riders need all the hit points they can get on their way to the Town Hall, where they then need to be protected with the Eternal Tome to make it through. Another army that I'm using, where I am using Golems, Root Riders, and Witches, I am pairing the Eternal Tome with the Healing Tome, because I'm using larger troops. Golems have so many hit points, Root Riders have so many hit points, the Witches are really just about distraction. Healing does not help those skeletons. They pop basically the first time a defense hits them. So I'm using the Healing Tome with that army because it benefits my Root Riders and my Golems more effectively than it will wind up doing with the Life Gem, where they're only getting the extra 725 hit points. What I will say is, test this stuff out, tinker with it yourself. I've played with the Rage Gem a lot in the development box, but I haven't used it much on any of my bases because I've been leveling up the Healing Tome and the base abilities of the Life Gem and the Eternal Tome. But I will get around to the Rage Gem eventually, because there are some army combinations I think it works really, really well with, particularly with Root Riders and some of the Hydra armies. I've seen people use the Rage Gem with the dragons pretty well. I don't like the Rage Gem with balloons just because they already deal so much damage on their own. But I do appreciate you guys staying around to watch the video. Please make sure that you're subscribed. Make sure you're using code Trample. Make sure to share my channel and my podcast with anybody that you know, including your aged grandmother, because I have a soothing voice. Thank you for joining me, aged grandmother. Make sure that you're also subscribed to me on YouTube and follow me on TikTok. Hope you guys enjoy the video. We got more coming at you in the future with some of the other equipment, especially because we just saw the Queen has a new ability. She's got the frozen arrow. We're going to do some comparisons on that as well. Hope you guys enjoy the video, and we will check you out on the next one.